Hello everyone, Treecks here and welcome to my newest small little weekend project. Welcome to Game & Watch Gallery. Based on the famous Game & Watch series that made Nintendo famous in the early 80s. Before Nintendo ever had his first home console, this was already a pretty big thing for them. The Game & Watch series, of course, pretty much the first handheld consoles that Nintendo ever made. But unlike a Game Boy or a 3DS system that we know nowadays, where you can actually switch games, back then it was only one game per screen. You actually bought a Game & Watch that contained one game on an LCD screen. Very simplistic, but still pretty fun to do. And even though I don't own a single Game & Watch myself, there is still a way I can actually cover this big part of history from Nintendo, namely in the form of Game & Watch Gallery. In the late 90s, when the Game Boy was already a thing, and later iterations, the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advance, Nintendo decided to create Game & Watch Gallery, containing a handful of old Game & Watch games, and even put a new variant in them, based on the famous Mario characters we know and love. And that is basically what this game is. The old Game & Watch games from the early 80s, in a compilation title of sorts, you might say. And even with a new variant of said games with Mario characters. Even though it's pretty hard calling them modern nowadays, as far as Game Boy games from the 90s can be called modern nowadays. But anyway, you can see by the demonstration here what it kind of was. This is actually an example of the game Manhole. In fact, it's the one we'll be playing today in this first episode. Game & Watch, a very important thing for Nintendo's history. Technically, it still exists, because last year we got a new Game & Watch game. The Legend of Zelda was actually released on Game & Watch. So even up to this very day, it is still a thing. And even when it comes to the hardware, it is still pretty much a thing, because later handheld consoles like the Game Boy Advance SP, the Nintendo 3DS all have designs based on how these Game & Watches looked back in the day. But the Game & Watch I wouldn't be able to record from. This is my way to actually show off how they work here on the Game Boy in the Game & Watch Gallery. Okay, one pretty neat feature this game actually has is interrupt save. As you can see, when paused, switch the power off to do an interrupt save. Therefore saying, you can actually pause the game, shut off your Game Boy, and it will actually work as a standby mode. The next time you switch on your Game Boy, you can actually continue. Interesting. But that's not all. As you can see, you can also press select to actually mute the music. That is a pretty useless mechanic in my opinion. But it's also still a thing. But okay, once you reach the main menu, you will find out there are 4 classical Game & Watch games present in this game. All 4 of them will be covered during this project. And because there's only 4, that's the reason why I said it's not a very long project. But anyway, we are playing Manhole today, the very first one. Let's go see if we can cover this one in this episode. Both of them. Because like I said, there are actually 2 variants in this game. As you can see, we have modern... Oh, it's interesting. There's actually a Super Nintendo controller pointing out the controls. It knows I'm playing on the Super Game Boy. Interesting. But anyway, we also have classic, modern and classic. The classic, of course, being the original Game & Watch variant, and modern being a new Mario variant of the same minigame. Both of them actually have an easy and a hard mode. Also based on the original Game & Watch, which always had a Game A and a Game B. An easy and a hard mode. It's most fun to play this on hard, so we can show off this game in its most full glory. Let's get started with the classical game first. We already saw this in the demonstration a little bit. But this is basically how it works. As you can see, we have 4 holes, 2 bridges and 4 holes in total. Some pedestrians start crossing them and we need to make sure they reach the other side safely. However, we are alone. We only have 1 manhole cover. It starts off pretty easy, as you can see. They move very slowly and there's only 1 pedestrian at a time. But the further we get, more pedestrians will appear at the same time and the faster they will go. As you can see, we now already have a second person entering the screen. And it's our job to make sure we get as far in this game as possible. There's no end to this game. Like most early games, even the Game & Watch series don't really have an end. They are just played for a high score. Get as far in this game as possible. Although there is an official end to your score, I'm pretty sure it's 999. Whenever you reach 1000 points, the scoring system will automatically stop. But usually you don't get that far, because trust me, it looks easy now, but it does become pretty dang difficult. And I did not see you. Sorry. Okay, as you can see, we now have a miss at the top left screen. Whenever you fail, you get one miss. And the moment you screw up 3 times, it is game over. So don't think if you only fail once you are already out. You get 3 chances to do this. And of course, there are also ways to actually cancel your misses. The moment you reach a certain amount of points, forgive me that I've forgotten how many that is. But hopefully you will be able to see that the moment I reach that. But there is actually a way to actually get rid of your miss. Score an extra life of sorts, you might say. I'm pretty sure that's 100 or 200 points. I'm not really too sure anymore. But we'll see once we reach that. Hopefully. And that's also the way I'd like to try to cover this game. Try to get as far in this as I can. And then switch to the modern variant. Do the same there. Try to get as far in that game as I can. And then call it an episode. And hopefully I'm able to do that with all 4 of the minigames. So we can pretty much cover this project in 2 weekends. It's pretty simplistic and short game. So don't want to give too much attention to this game. But I'm still working on my video game library. This is one of them. So this game eventually also needs to be shown off. And I also still feel like Game & Watch also deserves some credit when it comes to Nintendo, because it is a pretty big part in their history. The early 80s was the Game & Watch era. It is an era in time I do not want to ignore. And these Game & Watch gallery games are pretty much the only way I have with my capture cards to actually show these games off. Not all of them, of course, because not... Oh, dang it. I did see you, but I was too slow. I'm almost at 100 points, so... Let's see what happens. Okay, it did not give me an extra life, but it does slow down again. After every 100 points, the game does reset a little bit. As you can see, we are back to how things got started when it comes to the speed. Every 100 points you can see as a checkpoint of sorts. And now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure the 200 point mark is where you can actually score an extra life if you reach that. And I'm pretty sure I will not, because I'm already at 2 misses. So I can only permit myself 1. So 200 points, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to reach. But we'll see how far we can get. It's a fun little introduction to this game. It's no secret that I like the more modern, the quote-unquote Mario variant of this minigame a lot more. We also saw that during the demo. It's actually played with Yoshi. We'll see that once this game ends. And even in a game like Super Smash Bros. You can see how important Game & Watch has been for Nintendo, because they've decided from Super Smash Bros. Melee and onward that Mr. Game & Watch is also a suitable character for Super Smash Bros., which is also pretty fun. So even Nintendo themselves, when creating their Museum of Nintendo, because that's what I still feel Super Smash Bros. Is, Nintendo's museum, even there Game & Watch should be present. In the form of Mr. Game & Watch. And of course a couple of stages also based on these Game & Watch games. In fact, one of them we'll be seeing in this playthrough as well. Oh, oops. Yeah, sometimes the screen can get so crowded and I tend to forget one of these holes. But anyway, here we go. This is pretty much how it works. There is something you can unlock, I'm pretty sure, if you reach a certain high score. I'm not too sure if I'm gonna go for that quite yet. I might not, but I might also create an extra episode trying to go for all of the unlockables. And I'm pretty sure 177 is not enough. But anyway, yeah, let's continue this episode. I'm only at 10 minutes, so let's continue this episode by also showing off the modern variant. All of these games in a compilation title is fun and everything. However, they decided it needed to have more. Not just the original Game & Watch variant. They also created this minigame anew by making a Mario minigame out of them. As you can see, it works the same. It's just more modern and with Mario characters. But the deal is the same. However, because of it being more modern, it also has more traits. Unlike the original classical variant of Manhole, where all of the characters always were at the same speed, this time we actually have multiple people running around at different speeds. These toads you can see as the normal pedestrians. However, we also have Marios and Donkey Kong Jr.'s running around here. Donkey Kong Jr.'s are just as fast as toads. However, they are heavier and therefore plunge through the manholes quicker. And Marios are faster. Those are the faster characters, and that definitely makes this a lot trickier. But besides all of that, this game works pretty much the same. Whenever we reach 100 points, the minigame resets again, and whenever we reach 200 points, we receive an extra life. If we can actually carry that, because if we have no misses, then of course it will do nothing. Oh. And yeah, and unlike the original classical Manhole, as you can see here, the moment a character plummets through one of these manholes, they don't immediately give you a miss. You actually have a chance to get the manhole covers back up again before they fully fall. And that's the whole reason why I feel this variant is a lot easier than the original one. As you can see, in the classical Manhole was already down 2 times, and so far I've been doing this one a lot better. Even this one is getting quite crowded right now. Having a lot more trouble concentrating already. But the fact that you can actually still salvage your quote-unquote pedestrians the moment they fall through in this variant, that is definitely a blessing. Because if this had the... Oh, no! Too much! Okay, where was I in the story? Oh yeah, I was trying to talk about the hitbox. If this worked the same as in... Oh, thank you. That was actually an extra life. As you can see, my miss is now gone. Unlike in the original classical Game & Watch variant of this minigame, or any of the minigames, if you score 200 points, you immediately just receive your extra life. But here in these Mario variants, you actually need to pick up the extra lives. In this case, they are displayed as hearts. And the Monty Mole will actually throw it at you. And only if you catch it, you will actually receive that extra life. So getting extra life is more difficult in the modern variants, because you actually need to collect them yourself. And Mario, you're running way too fast. But okay, I had my extra life, so still at 1 miss. Okay, let's finally try to finish the story that I got interrupted with twice already. I was trying to say, in the original classical variant of this minigame, you immediately get a miss the moment a pedestrian is over a manhole that is not covered. In this minigame, you actually get a chance to salvage them, and that definitely makes this a lot easier, because if it worked the same as in the classical variant, I would have been game over a pretty long time ago. But I have the feeling this is not going to take a whole lot longer. It's definitely becoming very tricky already. The only plus side of it being so crowded here is the fact that your points go faster, because every single person that actually steps over a hole gives you a point. So the more crowded it gets, the faster your points will actually come. But that's the only plus side, because it is of course very hard keeping track of all of these guys. Man. Okay, there we go, 400. Because of me missing twice, I'm not going to get an extra life. I'm pretty sure that's also a rule. Only if you've been able to perfect a series of 100 points, I'm pretty sure only then an extra life will spawn. So obviously I'm not getting one now. But I'm still in this. I'm approaching 500 points. So that gives me a chance to actually talk about how that works. I'm pretty sure in order to unlock... I did talk about unlockables a moment ago. In order to unlock the thing you want in this minigame, you need to get 500 points or more. I'll talk about that more the moment we are actually out. Yeah, there we go, 500. And I get an extra life again. Thank you. Let's see how far we can get. And I'm pretty sure 500 is actually what you're aiming for if you're going for all the unlockables in this game. This applies to both the modern and the classical variants of all the minigames. I'm pretty sure the magic number is 500 points. But I'll correct myself if that appears to be a different number. Okay, I'm really having the feeling that I'm getting too used to this game again. But first... Oh. I was trying to say I'm doing way better than at the beginning. I'm actually getting used to this game again. The moment I'm trying to say that, I get another miss. Okay, 600. Every time you reach a 100 point mark, things slow down a little bit again. But the further we get in the minigame, the less and less time it will actually last. Okay, the screen was almost empty for a moment. Here they come again. Okay. Let's see if we can reach 1000 points. That would be nice. I was talking about how 999 is the maximum you can get. It would be nice if I'm actually able to show that off immediately in this first episode. Oh, come on. If they all start appearing on the same road, it's actually pretty easy. Oh, dang it, I missed the one-up. That is not a good sign. Yeah, like this, if they start appearing on the same road, it's pretty easy keeping track of all of these guys. What makes this game especially difficult is the fact that on both rows, on both bridges, the characters actually appear from opposite directions. That definitely makes this very tricky. If on both ends they would come from the left or both of them from the right, it would be a lot easier to actually keep track of them. But of course they deliberately did it like this. Has to be as difficult as it can be. Characters appearing from opposite directions. But of course, whenever you get in a situation like this... Oh, even a simplistic game like this, I can have so much fun with. Oh. I'm pretty sure that was just in time. The sprite was already touching the water, in my opinion. And the fact that you actually have 4 manholes in this minigame, you only have to keep them up, also make this easier, because the classical variant was not with 4 manholes, you only had 1 manhole there. This is of course also a way this is a lot more tricky. Suddenly realized I didn't point that out yet. Okay, oh, dang it. I just wanted to say I'm not receiving a 1-up, so these final 100 points I need to do on my own. But it didn't get that far. 909. Okay, and what do we get for this? Welcome, gallery corner is now open. You can open the star panels, but not those with a question mark. And that is what we unlock. This game is not called Game & Watch Gallery for nothing. There's also a gallery in this game. And the moment you actually receive a certain amount of points, once again, I'm not sure how much that exactly is, but you can actually unlock these panels. And apparently my score in the modern variant was good enough to score both of them. In classic I didn't get a single one. So I might try that later in bonus content or something, in order to show off the full gallery. Next time I will show off what these gallery panels actually are. For now I'm going to call this an episode. This has been Game & Watch Gallery Manhole. Tomorrow we will start doing Fire, a minigame you might know if you have played Super Smash Bros. But anyway, thanks for watching this classical series of Nintendo, and see you next time in the next game. Treecks out!